My patience tells no lies. Profit thing of evil, profit still, if not my lover. So you ran and you took cover from the concerns of your life. And all I want is for you to see what you want is supposed to be.
I'm not allowed to go live anymore. How about that? But welcome to the channel nonetheless. I am currently using the live recording software and attempting to create a local recording. Ooh, it tells me I have 0 frames dropped. That's good. We're off to somewhat of a good start, I suppose. So, my channel has been blown to smithereens. And there is another upload on its way for you right now regarding that as well. This, however, I find to be very interesting. See, this is content that has been removed from my channel. It's still up on several YouTube channels. Doesn't look like I'm going to have to show you what channel this is, but let's just say this is one of my Ukrainian friends. Okay. Person I've talked to, and I have permission specifically from them to share their content on my channel. Please, by all means, they said. But this content that they have on their channel, and that I see all of those side uploaders still have on their channels, it was blocked on my channel, not blocked on their channels. I've been specifically targeted. In fact, I'm going to show you the creepiest evidence you could possibly see of that I was specifically targeted after this. But first I want to play this clip. It's not just a Rachel Maddow thing. I'm gonna play his whole video for you because it's extremely interesting. Okay. And it recounts or correlates exactly what I've recounted for you about being harassed on Facebook, being flagged as racist, being flagged as pornographic, for posting things that were just pro-American, and pointing out the fact that the Russians are an enemy. Russians, like a certain religious group that we talk about sometimes, they're not a race. Okay, Russians? There's no race called Russian. It's a country. Okay? It'd be like saying that American is a race. It's not a fucking race. It's a country. Last I checked, For instance, all Russians weren't white, were they? Good God Almighty. Where do you people come up with this shit? Oh yeah, that's right, they're just trolling us to begin with. It's completely illegitimate in every way. And Facebook had absolutely no plausible legal grounds to be censoring Ukrainians while their country was being invaded by Russia. They're being censored, and I was being censored on Facebook, and I'm being censored here on YouTube for being Russophobic. I'm racist because I don't like Russians invading me. You know, I'm not Ukrainian, but I'm of the West. I'm of NATO, and my country signed a treaty agreeing to protect Ukraine. Now, as a citizen, I feel it was my responsibility. If my government's not going to protect this fucking country, I'm going to do everything I can to. And I did, man. Everything I could think of. Everything a guy whose spine's too broken to do IT work anymore can do. You know, I got my good days and my off days. I got my days where I could beat the shit out of 20 people. I got days like today where I barely lift my fucking coffee. I have yet to stand up straight today. I can't walk without leaning on something. Think I'm some sort of bigot? I'm a disabled person. I'm mixed race, for fuck's sake. Yeah, you forgot I was a nigga, huh? You forgot I was a nigga, huh? Pitiful. That's what this whole thing has been. Pitiful. Think I ain't a nigga. Let me show you a picture of my grandma. Creole as fuck. Think I ain't a nigga. Look at my credit and look at my job history. Look at my rhythm, look at my rhyme, look at my watch that don't tell the time. What? Calling a mixed motherfucker a racist. That's what they've been doing. That's my point. That's my point. Okay? Best friend's a black man. But I'm racist. Let me go ahead and play this before I start trying to like do a white boy rap or something.
As Facebook is increasingly struggling to answer criticism in this country over how its platform was used in the Russian attack on our election last year and why the company hasn't been more helpful to investigators trying to get to the bottom of that attack and trying to figure out if Americans helped in that attack. Daily Beast reports today that Facebook has been in this battle space before, also involving the Russians. At the same time Russian troops were invading Ukraine to take Crimea in 2014, Russian information warfare operators were using a surprisingly effective technique on Facebook to clear Ukrainian voices off of social media, so the Russians wouldn't have any competition for the information space while it was invading that neighboring country. what these Russian operatives would do is they'd find Ukrainian activists, people arguing in favor of Ukraine in this conflict between Ukraine and Russia, and then they'd go to online Facebook posts by those people, and then they would click report on those posts. And whatever that person's argument was, whatever the picture was, whatever the thing was that person was sharing, these Russian operatives would swarm it and report it over and over again to Facebook as porn. Or they report it as, inappropriate nudity or some other thing that you can flag to Facebook as a reason that a post should be taken down. It's like kind of the online equivalent of swatting, right? Where you call in the SWAT team. Like you call the police about your neighbor, you say some terrible crime is being committed.
Happened to me over and over
really
again.
Going on, and then the police respond, and your neighbor has to deal with this annoying and expensive and potentially dangerous police response. Right? It's one thing if you do that as a nuisance, you do that as a one-off effort to harass somebody or play a prank. But when you do it systematically as a state-sponsored tactic of warfare, you get good at it, and you do it in bulk. And in the case of the Russia-Ukraine stuff back in 2014, 2015, it meant they were blowing the whistle to Facebook about these innocuous posts by Ukrainian activists. They were doing it hundreds of times, thousands of times for each post and for each activist, and it worked. It in fact became such a point of concern that the president of Ukraine raised the issue with Facebook, asked Facebook to please consider maybe creating an office in Ukraine so they could deal with this special problem they were having here with Russian operatives.
And that was after a certain American contacted the Ukrainian embassy's webmaster.
Taking all these Ukrainian voices off of social media. Facebook laughed off that request from Ukraine and their president. But the Daily Beast today went back and interviewed some of the activists from Ukraine who were shut up by Facebook when all this was happening because Russian operatives targeted them to be shut up. I mean, around the time that Russian troops were literally invading Ukraine and taking over part of that country, Facebook was helping those the Russian government shut down opposition voices from the country they were invading. One of those activists tells the Daily Beast today that what he posted online in one instance was, quote, a picture of my city with a picture of a rainbow over it, and the picture said, everything will be okay. That's what he posted. Russian operatives
Friends with that guy.
And reported it over and over and over
that
and over
post
and over
was
again
in my
as
group.
porn, and that activist was blocked from Facebook for a month while Russia invaded his country.
Oh, that's why I lost touch with
So
him.
Mark, this question comes from Israel, but it's about Ukraine. Not to get confusing. So it actually had 45,000 likes on your profile. So it's from Gregory, and he says, Mark, I see many reports of unfair Facebook account blocking, probably as a result of massive fake abuse reports. These often involve the Facebook accounts of many top pro-Ukrainian bloggers and posts about the current Russian-Ukrainian conflict. My question is, can you or your team please do something to resolve this problem? Maybe create a separate administration for the Ukrainian segment, block abuse reports from Russia, or just monitor the top Ukrainian bloggers more carefully. Help us, please. And as a follow-up to this, and we'll show this on the screen, the Ukrainian president, Petro Poroshenko, actually sent in a question as well. And he asks, Mark, will you establish a Facebook office in Ukraine? All right. It's a mouthful. All right, well, let's get into it. So 45,000
drop the mic.
for that question is I think makes it by far the most voted on question that we've ever had at one of these Q&As. So
By far the most voted on question.
that I had the right answer to this one. Two parts of the question. One was about content moderation and some specific types of content that have been taken down that some Ukrainian folks have posted.
And some American folks.
The second part of it is about how we do moderation and overall kind of what our approach is to that. And then the third, which Ukrainian president has written in on, is when we open up an office in Ukraine. So I'll go through each of those. For the first, there's been a bunch of content that has been posted that violates the rules that we have around hate speech, right? So we don't allow people to post content on Facebook that is overtly hateful towards another group, that has ethnic slurs, that tries to incite violence towards an ethnic group or anything like that. And unfortunately, there were a few posts that folks were posting that kind of tripped that rule, and other folks in our community reported that in, and we looked at those, and we made the determination that some of these posts included these ethnic slurs against some Russian folks, and we took down those posts. And
They were invading
personally because
fucking country.
This question had 45,000 votes on it, so I wanted to make sure.
If a country is invading your country, you're allowed a little leniency as far as insults, wouldn't you think? You know, just generally, and just the rules of common fucking decency. One country is invading another country. And basically you're saying, how dare they complain about it? You're a fucking traitor. You belong in prison.
That I understood what I was talking about before we got up here. And I stand by that. I think we did the right thing according to our policies in taking down those posts. And
I hope I stand by your fucking grave one day.
I think that
I'll be sure to take a shit on it.
Now, there were a couple of questions that folks were asking about, were these posts by Ukrainians moderated by Russians, where there's the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. And there's this meme that was floating around that this policy and the content moderation was done out of a Russian office by Russians who were anti-Ukrainian. And that's not true. So first of all, we don't actually have a Russian office. So anyone who thinks that this was done,
We just have a bunch of Russians and Muslims working at our office.
We also don't have a Ukrainian office, and we actually don't have offices in a lot of countries around the world, but maybe over time. And what we try to do is when people write in and report content, we try to have folks who speak that language review it, and we have a European headquarters in Dublin, where we have folks who speak a lot of different languages from around the world. Look at the
Russians and Ireland. So I hope Shaman Conway knows why I was suspicious of him at first. Because there's a lot of Russian trolls in Ireland. Dublin in particular. And Cornwall, UK as well.
Content, and that's what we did here. Now, we did make one mistake, which was when we reached out to some of the folks to tell them about the content that we'd taken down, there was a bug in our system where we accidentally told folks that we were taking it down because the post contained nudity instead of hate speech. So that was a mistake, and we are there's a bug in the software that we were running. We fixed that.
Yeah, they don't look too fucking amused.
We apologize to folks. It's pretty clear if you look at the posts, they don't contain nudity, so I understand.
You didn't reach out and apologize to me.
But we'll try not to make that mistake anymore.
You didn't cost me my fucking country, motherfucker. What you gonna do to apologize for that?
Well, about are we willing to put an office in Ukraine? Over time, it's something that we might consider. Right? There are a lot of advantages to having people who work at the company, especially engineers and people who are building products, not spread all around the world, but instead just in a smaller number of offices where people can work more easily together. Right? If you always have to video conference or make phone calls to collaborate with people, you have to work across a lot of different time zones. That puts a big tax on working together, and it makes it very hard. So there are areas like in sales or partnerships where it does make a lot of sense to have local teams who are working with local partners for things like engineering offices, and which is most of what we do at the company. It really makes sense to kind of try to centralize that in as few centers as possible, which is why we don't have offices in a lot of places around the world. But as we do look to expand over time, we will certainly consider all of these countries. So thank you for the question that 45,000 people voted on, and for the Ukrainian president for writing in. I don't think we've gotten that one before. Excellent.
I mean, as Russia was literally seizing territory from a neighboring country, within the last few years as they became one of the only modern industrialized nations in a generation to have invaded a neighboring country and taken over part of its territory. Russia also simultaneously took to the information space to shut down activists from that country.
Yeah. And that's the shill bullshit you have to deal with. The flat earth shill himself, Russia Insider. The shilliest shill on earth. Oh yeah, more shill than Eric Dubé, more shill than Matt Powerland, more shill than anyone is this motherfucker right here. Why? It's not his fault. It's your fault. It's anybody who sees that and doesn't realize, I'm watching Russian propaganda. Anything here should be considered possibly a conspiracy theory meant to make me want to take down my own government, and should be taken as, skeptically as possible. But no, nobody gives it any fucking skepticism whatsoever. They just don't doubt it at all. Now, there's something else very disturbing that I found. Let me just go ahead and pause this so I can get to it. So, I apologize if that was a bit of a hard cut right there, but I'm learning how to use this, and it's going to take some reviewing and viewing to refine the process. I think we were just getting into where the live streams were starting to be a better high quality, and then they shut me down. So, I'm just going to keep documenting what I document for posterity's sake, and hopefully for a jury to look at after hearing, arguments from my lawyer that will be largely written by me. Oh yeah, something that should terrify anybody who's trying to commit fuckery is my words coming out of the mouth of a lawyer. So, speaking of my legal case, a month after, 1 week after, you can see my the difference between my Google Plus account creation for The Lost Begotten and them actually letting my channel exist. It took about 3 weeks, and then I have the February or whatever 26th 2014 as the date that my channel was actually created, and then or whatever it was. I remember things better relatively. February or March 26, 2015. But I went and I looked at many, many, many different little flat earth channels that just popped up, like Jesse's Spots and Jaronism and fucking who cares, like all these different little fucking people. And they all suddenly got their channels within this period. Including Patricia Steer. Now, I had been being tracked by Russian intelligence for quite some time. The people who would know that I was going to make a channel to talk about Flat Earth and how it was being used as a conspiracy by Russian intelligence. The only people that would know were Russian intelligence. So if there was any group of people who was going to preempt me by spamming YouTube, they would be contracted by or work directly for Russian intelligence. These are actors. They're hired by the FSB. They're not Russians. They don't really know what the fuck they're doing. This Botox bitch here doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about half the time. Yeah, that should be her nickname. That's all you should give her credit for. Just some dumb fucking Botox bitch. She's an actress. Okay? And let me tell you this. As a New Orleans native, and you can hear it in my voice, this bitch ain't never fucking been to New Orleans. Okay? She's probably Canadian. Most of them are Canadian. Blame Canada? Don't ever fucking think you know what I know. Little puppies. And for those of you who think I just spoke incoherently right now, understand that I am essentially communicating with signals intelligence officers. Okay? I speak in code, I speak in riddles. I speak in reference to things that people know that you might not. Okay, so if I sound incoherent, just remember that it's because I'm above your head. Anyways. So. What you're about to hear are many creepy references directly to me that occurred right before my channel was targeted. The following is a coded message for people to attack me. She says my name, then she says another last name, but says she isn't getting it right. Okay? Then proceeds to make many other coded references towards me. And this occurred at the approximate time where I was just being trolled like the fuck on Facebook, and things were starting to get very, very weird. And again, this channel just popped up right after mine, after several other channels popped up during my little limbo period. These channels all popped up to spam me, specifically. Me alone. Me only. And I'm not being narcissistic here. Who else was running a Support Ukraine Facebook group? No one. Just me.
They have reached the outer limits lately, don't you think?
Oh, it is. A lot can change in a week. In fact, a lot can change in a couple days, but 1 week, and here we are talking about stuff that I didn't think we'd be talking about for months. So.
My channel started to get popular. Then suddenly, a bunch of celebrities were talking about Flat Earth. Celebrities who have by and large part colluded with this whole fucking coup. And I've told you, a whole lot of celebrities, a whole lot of people are in the empire of media. Many of them have been propagandized by Russia, especially black people have been propagandized by Russia in ignorance of the fact that Russia is a slave state itself and sold slaves. But, you know, obvious. The propaganda they used was pretty obvious. These people have been turned against this country. Yeah. Some real shit.
Oh, by the way, like your shirt.
Thank you.
Oh.
It's Sean Michael Probably saying it wrong. Basket.
You know, I didn't draw that stuff, obviously. But it does look a little bit like my drawings, doesn't it? That's all I'm saying. And, that's also an interesting point that this guy brings up. That's, the light is on. But, you know, he is more than likely just another shill playing the who's who shill pointing finger fucking game. Although he's doing a better job of it than most. I don't know. Can't make a judgment.
Yes, he is a artist. It's just little drawings that he's done. He didn't draw them on this shirt. It's a shirt that you can buy, but that's who this is.
Cool. Cool. And you have what you got there? Rings to match?
She just chose a shirt that would happen to be designed by somebody with my name. Happens to look like my drawings.
Well, they don't really match. They're just
Opposing pyramids. Something exclusively taught about on my channel.
crazy rings.
Yeah.
Black
Cool.
fingernail polish.
Looked like it.
Look at me, I'm a Satanist.
And a sparkly beret, so.
France. The Gaul.
Why? Because I have this stuff. Might as well put it to good use and wear it.
Yeah.
Here on the flat earth, we can have fun and wear crazy clothes.
I'm wearing, because I now get flat.
The starting line to my Flat Earth comedy, which was never allowed to go viral for any reason. We Star Trek, right. Subtle, isn't it? Doubtable, isn't it? Easy to be skeptical about that claim, isn't it? But in a row, these are all references to my channel.
T-shirts pretty much every week
I'm the only one who started a fucking video like that, okay?
for people in the Flat Earth community. So I got this one from the Flat Earth Cable Company, and it says "Space Final Frontier." Still.
I love that shirt.
You
He
have
sent
that
me
one?
one too. And
Yeah.
I'll show mine right here. And it is NASA, National Academy of Space.
I got trolled, people accusing me of being part of the National Academy of Space Actors, which is not just saying that you're in NASA and one of the actors pulling off the fake space program and whatnot, but the people on YouTube, supposedly NASA, fucking laid off 16,000 fucking people, but they got enough manpower and extra resources to hire YouTube shills. And that's what they were accusing me of being of. Of being of?
Within 24, 48 hours. And if you think mainstream media was going to ignore that, oh, you are kidding yourself. Because it got, I can't even begin to list off all the media outlets that covered it, because it's basically all of them. You want a better list, find me a media outlet that didn't cover it.
Yeah. How nice of the media to line up with their spamming operation. It all seemed to play out very consistently. But even then, just this little instance isn't enough to convince anyone. I'm aware of that. But there's more. And I can't go through all of them one by one, so I will simply list on top of this the most compelling other proof that YouTube was actually bending its major policies in order to distress me. Not just suppress me, but in order to harass and intimidate me. They actually cost themselves and many, many people money, and made their platform less popular and less competent seeming in general. One of these things they did was immediately after my channel was allowed to be monetized, they stopped requiring anything for monetization. They've now started requiring things for monetization now that I've said I'm going to create more channels. Yeah, I repeat. After I created my channel and had to get 100,000 views to get monetization, YouTube decided it's a free-for-all. Let's let all the Russian shills come and monetize their shit. And that's what they did. That's why they did it. Okay? If you think otherwise, you're simply not as smart as me. Sorry. And now that I have said on this channel that I'm going to start some separate channels to talk about separate things, they've required something like 1,000 views on a video per week or some shit. And they won't even consider monetizing you before you get 1,000 views. It's only 1,000 views now, but there's requirements again now. And do you have any idea how hard it is for me to get 1,000 views now? Now, the other thing that they did was when I announced that I would like people to please use the donate button and support the channel, they deleted the donate button for everyone. I repeat, when I, little old me, after 2 years of saying, unless you are wealthy and want to see me do better, I'm okay. I don't need anybody who's relatively poor donating to my channel. Then I got to the point where we were getting pretty destitute, and the YouTube ad revenue just was tanking. I decided to ask for donations, and 2 days later, the button was gone. You can check the date on that. And I started asking for donations, and then I got a message from somebody, I'm trying to donate and the button's gone. What the hell? But Google says that they decided to do it 2 weeks before, not like Google could edit the fucking date on a Google result. Well, this has all been very interesting. Very interesting. I've just been censored, harassed, bullied, made to suffer emotionally, severely. Okay? And at the same time, they've been whittling away at and defrauding channels like MSNBC. Do you really think MSNBC's YouTube channel gets less views than people like Mark Dice and Alex Jones? Really? I would like to know if you believe that. What type of crack do you smoke? Because it must be amazing. And on that bombshell, it is time to end. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please click the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check your subscription if you are a sub. I would say click the notification bell. Exactly for fair use.
Now it takes my pain back to breathe out another thing. I've known, Lord, I've known. It's in my heart and baby down in my soul. No more. No, I know I'm walking out that door. The way it treated me.